Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darrell Keezer. I'm the CEO and founder of Candybox Marketing. Very excited today to talk about marketing automation. Now, I understand, I get it. Marketing automation has been around for a very long time. Today we're talking about email, and I think it was in, gosh, what was it, 1999 or 2000? I got my first Gmail account with a whopping 2 GB of storage. Do you remember that? Hotmail was 100 meg. Gmail was 2 gig. That was, was such a good time. That was 24 years ago, but it was a really good time. And today we're going to be talking about marketing automation. However, our caveat is we just want to talk about stuff that's working, stuff that is pertinent to your business, stuff that is going to push revenue for your business. We are not just going to talk about all the fluffy little features that you can turn on and off. Just with email, we're talking about chatbots, we're talking about automation, we're talking about psychology, we're talking about a lot of fun stuff. And the best part about this is I also get to talk about this today with Malene Jorgensen. Malene is a team lead and senior marketing manager here at Candybox Marketing, and we're actually in the same room. Proof, I'm going to give her a high five to my right. There you go. That's amazing. So we are going to go through this presentation today. And so, everything we're going to be speaking about is about how digital marketing should actually work for your business and how most businesses are leaving money at the table. As a marketing agency, we actually have admitted to even some of our clients that we get very excited as marketing people about the net new client. And I think a lot of us on the webinar today can understand that. It's when you think about growing your business, you think about the new client, the new client, the new client. But what about the prospect? What about your existing client? What about your lead nurture program? And so we keep trying to go after net new with different marketing campaigns and videos and social media and all that fun stuff and search engine marketing. But what about everybody that is your current client or that was a prospective client that wasn't really ready to buy? And that's where marketing automation is going to be entering the chat today. What we want to introduce here is there's a concept of bringing 3 items together for a party. All right. So if you're trying to sell something, you need to first talk to the right person. All right. If you're not talking to the right person, it doesn't matter, right? People say, well, should I be on LinkedIn? Should I be on TikTok? Should we be on search? And our first question is, are your people there? It's a very simple question, right? If your people aren't there, we don't need to worry about it as much, right? You don't need to attend trade shows that your customers aren't at. You don't need to be on social media networks that your customers aren't. Now, that said, we've got to figure that out with every business, right? Where are your people? And we want to make sure that we're always talking to the right person. But we can't just talk to the right person. We've got to also talk about the right solution to the right person, right? And different solutions, depending on different people, they change. So if somebody's coming to Candybox and they're really interested in branding and they want to talk about their brand and their brand story, we need to talk to them about branding. We can't start talking to them about emails or SEO or video or doing webinars and all this stuff because all they're focused on, their objectives is branding. And so whenever we're talking to customers, we can't just talk to our customers about anything. We need to talk to them about what they're interested in. All right. So then we have, lots of different areas of our marketing plans where we're building out experiences for different target groups and ideal client profiles and all those things. We know that stuff. But then there's the trickiest thing that comes in here, which is the right time. The right time. And this is a thing that is a huge pain for both marketers and salespeople. I'd say salespeople a little bit more, right? You got to make sure you speak to the person at the right time because you can be, giving the right solution to the right person. But if it's not the time to buy, they're not going to buy. If you're a really good salesperson, maybe you can push and push and push and push and finally get them to capitulate and buy. But most of the time, they're not going to buy. All right, it's something that salespeople really they'll hone their craft around timing. When I was a teenager, I think it was about 12 to 16, I did door-to-door sales for the Toronto Sun, and I sold newspaper subscriptions, and we would go out in between 6:30 and 9 at night. All right, so we would just be knocking on doors. So yes, if you lived in Mississauga during that time, all right, I'm sorry. I probably interrupted your dinner at least once, okay? And especially in new neighborhoods, we would just hit those new neighborhoods. We'd go out there and I would try to knock on about 200 doors every single night. And a lot of the time, people would remind me, they're like, hey, we're having dinner. They'd kind of remind me like, we're having dinner right now. And internally, I would say, I know you're having dinner. That's why I'm here. Because if I come any other time, you're not going to be home. If I come at 10 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be home, or you're off at soccer, or you're doing different things. But I know that humans eat. And so from 6:30 to 9, that is my window that you are the most likely to be home. And it's really hard to reach you when you're not home. And so I would be able to sell subscriptions to people right around the dinner hour. Now, when we're talking about the time with your customers, we need to really think about what is the best time that they need to purchase your products and services. And times can be all over the place. So if you even look at like the travel agent industry, the stats show us that travel is typically booked after 11 o'clock at night by a female representative in the house. That's right. So 11:34 p.m. on a Friday, somebody's thinking, where is my family going to be going in 6 months in Portugal? And they are like looking through and doing the research because they don't have any other time to do like 3 hours of like travel research and be on travel blogs and watch videos and do all that stuff. It is late at night. So as digital marketing people, we would need to kind of respond by advertising and helping people through their purchase journey well after we and the salespeople and the call center have gone to sleep. It's about right people, right solution, right time. So taking a look at this, if we combine all these things together and they are in perfect unison, which Malene is going to be speaking about today, then we have magic, right? Then we've got sales, we've got conversions, we can push revenue. But we need to help the automation part of this because we're not always there when they're ready for us, and we need to always be ready. When we say ready as a company, we need to be ready and available to help them on any side, any part of their purchase journey. So when they are looking for a quote, if they're looking to find more information, they're looking to get a short list of vendors like B2B, B2C, this is a 24/7 thing. And if we're not available, guess what? It's okay. Our competitors are available, right? And that's not good because they're just going to go with them. One of my favorite lead generation stories was from a number of years ago now. We were working with an insurance company selling cottage insurance in Ontario. Okay, so they were selling cottage insurance, and their campaign started, I think it was in about April every year, and so we started their campaign in April, and they would be getting leads online for people looking for cottage insurance. And then at the end in September, they're like, you know what, let's shut down our campaign because the cottage season is kind of done, it's packed up, and we're out of here. Now at that time, we still saw leads coming in for this insurance company. So we said, you know what, let's try something out. Why don't we just keep the campaign on and we'll see when the leads dry up. Let's not dictate the time to our customers. Let's let the customers dictate time to us. And so we kept it on for September. Then we kept it on for October. And then November, it continued. And December. And, we're putting up our Christmas trees and different things. And people are getting cottage insurance. And throughout all that, we learned something about our customers' time. Is that people looked for cottage insurance when cottages were being sold. Makes sense, right? Do you know when cottages are sold? They're not sold very often. They don't trade hands like homes in the city and stuff. Cottages are sold when people die. And you know what? There's one fact about dying. We can die at any time, okay? It's not seasonal. You can die during this webinar. Hopefully not before the end because there's a really good offer at the end that you won't really want to stick around for. But we can literally die right now, all right? And so because that wasn't seasonal, dying wasn't seasonal, selling wasn't seasonal, cottage insurance wasn't seasonal, and so we turned this into a 365-day campaign, and all of our competitors went away, but we, with our insurance company, as a client, we're there all the time to make sure that we're in front of them, that we're selling them because it's the right person with the right solution at the right time. If we don't do this, we're just leaving money on the table. We can do a lot with our marketing to look at net new and attracting people and building our brand awareness. But if we are not ready with our automation plan, if we are not ready to walk people through booking something or filling out a form, at 11:40 at night with the right information that they need to know about your business, we are trying to whip up a lot of stuff with marketing and try to get a lot of people interested, and then we are letting them down. So today, we're going to try to solve that for you. We are going to talk about marketing automation and how it can help your business succeed. So for this, I want to pass it over to Malene to walk us through different really creative ideas that we could use to help our marketing automation.
Thank you so much, Darrell. All right, thank you. Let's start out with a very, very simple concept called personalization. Now, I want to just introduce a guy to you. This gentleman here, his name is William James, and he is a psychologist. Now, in 1890, he wrote a book called The Principles of Psychology. And on one of those pages, approximately page 267, if I remember correctly, there's this beautiful illustration. This illustration here is dictates like how we think. So let's look at point A. Point A is an idea that we can all get behind, and Z is the conclusion. So let's make this an example here. So A, we can all agree that we need to eat lunch. Z is the conclusion that we all decided we're going to go get tacos. Now, my justification for getting tacos will be different from Darrell's. It will be different from Joel, my camera guy, and it will be different from yours. Why is that? Well, that's because there's two major components that kind of dictate how we think. One is inheritance. So that's our core beliefs. It's who we are as people. It's how we were raised. It's kind of where our gut feeling comes from. And the second component to that is our environment. So what affects us at any given time or any context, media, social media, or a period of time in our lives. So a lot of things go into our decision making, even though we can agree on we're getting lunch and we're going to go get tacos. Now, the same kind of thing can be said for our sales funnels. And yet, even though everybody and every prospect that comes into our business thinks differently, our sales funnels are often very linear, right? Like we are not necessarily thinking about every single prospect that comes in and all the objections that they come into our business. We just have a very linear sales funnel, and that's why sometimes leads will kind of fall through the cracks because they're not being met with whatever they're going through. We are not recognizing them where they're at, and thus we're leaving money on the table. Now, let's take a look at this very simple sales funnel here. So a problem identified is that the prospect has a problem and your company is the solution. But just because you have the solution for them does not mean that they're going to buy. So in this particular situation, the problem identified is A, and Z is the sale complete. Now, in order for this to actually complete the sale, a prospect may have different objections. So common ones can be, I'm just too busy to buy the solution and implement it in my business. Another objection could be, oh, it's just too much money. I don't have that kind of money to invest in the solution right now. Another one could be, well, you have a ton of competitors. I need to go see what they're offering in order for me to make an educated decision and buy your solution. Or it could just be that they have no idea who you are and have a severe lack of trust in your business simply because you're brand new. And yet we're trying to get all of these people into our very linear sales funnel. And if they don't feel met or feel heard, we lose them. And where do they go? They go to your competitor, who will probably have personalization in place in order for them to feel seen and heard. So if you have a very linear sales process right now, it's time to explore personalization. So let's take a look at what that could potentially look like. So for email marketing, so emails feature personalized subjects are 50% more likely to be opened. So actually, this is a fun example because this is actually Darrell. Darrell got this email. As you'll see, there's personalization right in the subject line. It is directed at Darrell. Now, you may be thinking, all right, I use personalization in my subject lines all the time. But there's actually another personalization in this email, and it is his location. So for this particular one, it says, hey, Mississauga. Now, Darrell might have gone shopping at Jack & Jones and indicated that Oakville was his location. But because the grand opening is nearby, they're going to tap into that Oakville market. So personalization is not just name, also location. They're using the data points that they have about Darrell to personalize his journey with Jack & Jones. Now, personalized emails also achieve an impressive open rate that's significantly above average KPIs and an outstanding click-through rate, which is the action that we want them to take. Now, here's another example of a very personalized email. So this email here is actually for a travel agency, but the same kind of concepts can be used in B2B marketing. So here we have the name, We have where they started their journey with this particular airline, how many kilometers they have traveled, the destinations that they've gone to. All of these things are just personalization based on the data points that they have about the customer. Now, users of marketing automation software can benefit from 451% increase in qualified leads, according to Oracle. Now, how do we do that? How do we improve the lead quality here? Well, it's all about asking questions, right? So if we have a chatbot, we're using the chatbot to get information about our prospects so we can better understand what they're looking for and what their needs are. And then based on the information that we get, we can put them into our CRM and start segmenting them so we're meeting them where they're at, hence helping the whole situation of creating that right time to meet them where they're at to help close the deal. 26% of B2B marketers use chatbots in their marketing programs, and they gained between 10 and 20% more lead generations in 2002. And that is simply because we start asking questions and we get their email address. Once we have their email address, we can start nurturing them off of these platforms into our CRM, and we can learn more about them. Now, this does not happen overnight. This is a journey. I've had prospects that have come into a lead funnel and they've been there for one day. But I've also had prospects come into a lead funnel and be part of it for 3+ years before they ended up buying. They probably went to a competitor first, but they never left your lead funnel. It just takes time for some people to make that decision, but when they are ready, you are there to help them. Now, let's combine chatbots and email. With with marketing automation, you can actually increase your sales lead by 50% and decrease cost per lead by 33%. So how does that work? Well, if you're increasing your sales lead by using chatbot to filter them in and segment them, you're decreasing your cost per lead by 33% because you're maintaining and keeping a lot of those leads and nurturing them. So not just coming into your business and then kind of falling off the grid, because you're capturing them, you're nurturing them, you're segmenting them, and you're meeting the needs where they're at, even if they're not ready to buy just yet. So what does all of that look like in action? So we're going to pretend that we have an insurance company. We have an insurance company that sells B2B insurance, and we're going to start looking at what a potential personalized journey looks like for business owners. So this here is Susan. Now, Susan runs a cafe, and she hasn't quite gotten around to getting insurance, and now she's panicking. She needs insurance right now. So what does Susan do? Well, she goes to Google, just like a lot of us do, and starts searching. Now, she gets onto our website and she's not quite finding the information she's looking for because she needs a quote right now. So she starts engaging with our chatbot. Our chatbot is very uniquely designed to grab prospect information to give the sales team what they need to close that lead. So we've beautifully crafted a very segmented quote journey in our chatbot to get all of that information from her. Now, when she's done filling that out, we'll say we'll be in touch as soon as possible. All of that information is fed into our CRM and segmented appropriately. Because we now know so much about her, we can send her an instant personalized email with everything that she needs to gather for this quote and everything that we're currently working on. So when the first salesperson is available, they can jump on and close that deal. Now let's look at Ben. Ben has a SaaS company and he knows he needs insurance, but he's pretty chill about it. He doesn't see it as an urgent thing. So he's just scrolling on Instagram one day and he sees one of our posts. Now, this particular post is an automated post, like a social chatbot. So on our post, we say, hey, comment insurance, and we'll share everything that you need for your tech business because, we've targeted Ben through proper socials. Now, when he types in insurance, an automated message will trigger, and we now have a conversation with him in his direct messages. Now, in this direct message, we will educate him about why he needs insurance for his business and send him to a dedicated landing page. On this landing page, we're going to ask him to fill out a couple of details about himself. And in a similar situation like Susan, we're going to send him a proper follow-up. Now, in the case of Ben, even though we're sending all the information into our CRM, he's not quite ready to buy. So we're going to probably label him more as a marketing qualified lead, and he needs additional nurture. But now that he's in our CRM, we can start feeding more nurtured, educative content to him. So when he is ready to buy, we can talk to him. All right, let's look at Mary. Mary is in a different situation than the other two. She's been working on her business. She's working with business owners and she's working as a consultant. Now, she actually already has an insurance provider, but she's not exactly happy with it, but she hasn't had the time to really explore her options. And she spends a ton of time on LinkedIn networking. And one day she's going through her messages and she notices that she has a message from us because she accepted our connection request because we reached out to her through our LinkedIn Rapid Connect program. And now we can start having that conversation with her. So she hasn't responded to any of our messages, but now that we're having that conversation with her, and she's like, well, you know what, maybe let's go back and look at that insurance. So in some of the messages we've sent to her, we have shared a link to a website. Now, this is not our homepage. This is not our contact page. This is a dedicated landing page for somebody who needs insurance. Now, she wants to learn more. Why should she switch? She already has a provider. Well, when she starts engaging with this landing page, filling out a form to explore what the options are, it's going to go into our CRM. From here, she's going to get a message talking about all of the great things that we do and how we're different from her competitors. And then our sales team is going to reach out. So completely different journey across the board, but same kind of personalization going through. Oh, and by the way, all of those examples took place at 2 a.m. when it was the right time for them and we were not around. So where does marketing automation play a role? Well, it actually plays a role throughout the entire sales funnel. So very top of funnel, we have social media automation, right? So like exactly like that Instagram post or even our LinkedIn Rapid Connect. Throughout the top of funnel nurture, we can start creating constant leads. Now, these leads coming in might not be sales qualified leads off the bat because this is very top of funnel, educational, trustworthy content, but they could be marketing qualified leads. That doesn't mean that they're not going to convert one day. So having very nurturing email funnels helps them kind of educate them about why we are the right decision. So even if it takes them 2 years, we only paid to acquire them one time. Plus, brand engagement. The more we talk to them on these platforms, the more they get to know who we are. We share fun content, cultural content, why we're different from competitors. We stay top of mind. And it's engagement on their terms, right? Right person, right solution, right time. We're meeting them where they're at. We're nurturing them where they're at. And it's not salesy at all. And the great thing about it is very top of funnel, we can get some new insights about potential new audiences that we weren't aware existed. Let's look at middle of funnel. So chatbots are great for lead generation on websites because now they're on our site, they're exploring our options. So they're like that a little much closer to potentially becoming a sales qualified lead. AI plays a big role in here, both in terms of chatbots, but AI is also a great, actually our LinkedIn Rapid Connect just got an update for AI, which means that we can now utilize AI to start having more valuable conversations through our LinkedIn Rapid Connect program. And it's intent-based, so it's gonna start reading the intent of the conversation and help you get closer to either jumping on a call or getting them into your CRM. So AI is great for kind of gauging and helping in having those conversations with prospects, just so it doesn't become that awkward conversation of like, hey, you should really jump on a sales call with me, and yet we don't know anything about them. Marketing automation in the middle funnel is also great for segmenting out those marketing qualified leads that need a lot more nurture than the sales qualified leads that may be in that urgent position like Susan was of needing insurance right away. And this is not something that you manually have to sift through in your CRM. This is something that marketing automation can help segment out either based on the content that you're serving them or their behaviors in engaging with that content. And continued nurture. Like I mentioned before, every single person coming through these sales funnels are going to have different experiences. They're going to have different needs. They're going to have different mindsets. So some people are going to come in and they're going to convert that same day. But you can also have leads that come in and they stay for years and years and years. Doesn't mean that they're not eventually going to convert or even recommend you even though they're not a client, simply because they love the content and the nurture that you do. And marketing automation allows us to be available 24/7, even at night. Now, at that bottom of funnel, we have email marketing automation, right? Email is how we communicate. It's the format that a lot of companies use. And it helps us even in the sales pipeline in terms of like if you send out a proposal to somebody, reminding them to go back in and sign. And even at that bottom of funnel, really making that final push to educate them as to why they need to convert. It also helps in the continued nurture and education. So even when they do become a customer, because it's not just about getting them to become a customer, we don't want them to just stop engaging with us just because they became a customer. So what does that relationship look like after they become a customer? What does that relationship look like? So best example here is like Starbucks, right? every single year on your birthday, Starbucks sends you a free drink. That is marketing automation at its finest. You feel seen, you feel heard, you feel valued. Your customers kind of want that same treatment. What happens after they become a customer? What kind of nurture are you then putting them on? And this is where marketing automation in terms of growth marketing is great, because effective nurture, even post-acquisition, can lead to better reviews and even referrals. And of course, retention, which is something that we all want. Now let's look at some stats on the sales side. So personalized calls to actions demonstrate a remarkable 202 better conversion rate than defaults or standard calls to action. So I'm sure we've all gotten those abandoned carts where it's like, hey, you gotta like complete your purchase to get 10% off because the offer is expiring. Now, one of my coworkers actually sent me this on the way home one day, and I thought it was brilliant. This is an abandoned cart from Liquid Death. It's very on brand. It just says, hey, we're worried about you. Hey, it's me, the guy who writes all these emails from Liquid Death. Listen, I don't like to break character like this, but did you die or get kidnapped or something? Seems like you're about to finish checking out on the site, and you just suddenly stopped. It's very personalized, it's branded, it's fun. How could you not remember something like that rather than your standard abandoned cart emailed? Now, marketers also report a remarkable 760% increase in email revenue from adapting personalized and segmented campaigns. Now, this is another fun one. Actually, this one actually came to Darrell for a game that he was looking at buying from Exploding Kittens. It actually says right in the email, Darrell, your cart doesn't like to be alone. Go back to it. And because it's Darrell, of course, he's going to go back and purchase this.
I actually bought 2 on this one, because the email said your email, what is it? Your cart needs more snuggles. And I was like, that is perfect. And so I literally went back and bought 2 just to be like, well done, guys. There's just a picture of a cat too, which I just think is fun.
There you go. The proof is in the pudding. Email marketing is most useful for lead generation, sales, lead nurturing, and even when you're fun and personalizing it, maybe you get 2 purchases out of it. Customer retention. I bet you that the next email they send out, Darrell will be buying 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, probably.
Awesome. All right, so we've just talked about stats, we've talked about examples. Now, what does that look like in real life? So here's a real life example from the Candybox universe. So the first one's actually ourselves. So we are a 10-year overnight success because we've had marketing automation in place for years. In fact, if you looked at our website, you might notice that we have not 1, not 2, probably 3 different forms on our site. And each of those forms have unique different calls to action. And when you sign up on those, something different will happen depending on what that form is going to do. So we have book a call, we have get a sweet email every month, and you're not here by accident because you're probably on one of those lists, hence getting you into this particular webinar. And regardless of what list you're on, we do brand awareness through cross promotion, whether it's this webinar, our fun YouTube videos, fun social posts, you name it. It's all about brand awareness and making sure we stay top of mind. Now, let's look at another example. So this particular client was an event-based client. This client had an event that was 3 weeks. We had 3 weeks to generate leads and drive conversions. So what we did, her website was very transactional. So in order for us to not have you need to come by now or we have nothing for you, we created a pop-up form with a very specific goal. And that goal was to address one of those objections coming in just to make that sale a little bit easier. So what we saw from that was a 23% conversion rate. So everyone that came through that particular pop-up, 23% of them ended up buying a ticket. Now, in this particular instance, the KPI for this is between 8 and 9%, and ours was 23% conversion rate. And everybody that went through that specific funnel actually accounted for 13% of all total customers. In that just 6 weeks, because we did a little bit of marketing before the event, leading up to the end of the event, actually generated 4,000 subscribers, where 75% of them were customers and 25% of them were leads, which allows you a ton of opportunity for growth marketing for the next event. The last example I'm going to share with you is one of our clients, Dr. Vince Molinaro. He leads LCI, which is leadership contracts. You can find them at leadwithlci.com. And they're global experts in helping organizations build and scale leadership accountability. Now, he has a new book coming out in September called The Community of Leaders. So in order for us to help prepare for this and his business, we did a ton of things with marketing automation. So we helped build unique nurture funnels for everybody coming into the site. We can now track the best performing lead forms because he, like us, have multiple lead forms. We can now segment leads by title, so we can now start looking at who's sales qualified and who is marketing qualified leads. We get new target insights simply because we're asking for that title. Who else is coming in other than our prime demographic that we're looking at? We're getting overarching marketing insights. We can start segmenting anything from books and programs and public speaking and events and really start looking at how these people are behaving in the funnel and capitalizing on what's moving the needle and what is not. We also have CRM analytical insights. So this is my favorite. I'm a very data-driven person. So if you put numbers in front of me, I'm going to study them until something makes sense. And that allows us to do data-driven, constant optimizations for him. And there's two things that we really love, or that I really love about marketing automation. One of them is data. So having data-driven decisions, making data-driven decisions require us to have the proper data in front of us. Now, HubSpot is great at that because it gives us the best insights in terms of attribution, where the leads are coming from, what leads are resulting in a close, and then how is all of our marketing assets across the board, not just email, but social, organic, paid, how's everything kind of working together holistically to drive the best results. Now, this is not one of those set it and forget it kind of situations. So what we also like to do is have monthly eyes on it all the time, constant optimizations. Things change. Your customers might not stay the same. So every single thing that they're influenced by in that environment, like their inheritance values might stay the same, but their environment's going to change. Influences change. They see a TikTok about your company or about your industry, that might change their perception. So this data allows us to track, where is your demographic going? What are your leads doing? How are they behaving in your sales funnels? It allows us to be proactive and meeting them where they're at rather than reactive. Having this data simply also just helps you identify gaps in your sales funnel, helps you understand what's really driving your ROI, and it gives you continuous analysis and personalizations through automations and workflows. And best of all, it gives you monthly insights that you can then optimize for better performance.
Great. Malene, thank you so much. That was awesome. Hope you all learn a lot from that. But here's a big question for you, and I've got a couple answers for you lined up here, and we're going to discuss them, and also we're going to go into Q&A. This is also a great time to remember. So there is a Q&A feature right at the bottom. Feel free to click on that Q&A and ask a question. If you want to ask a question in terms of your own industry or something that you think would benefit all the webinar viewers here today, feel free to put it in, and Malene or myself will answer it live here. So really appreciate if a couple people want to preload us with some questions right now. We'll get to that in 2 minutes. But one of the biggest questions is, where do we start? Right? Where do we start? I mean, there's a lot that we just went over here. There's a lot to do with email. There's chatbots. There's web. There's data capture and validation. There's new rules about email this year where emails are no longer getting delivered if you don't have your DKIM record set up. Like literally, guys, this is kind of like going to go do your taxes. There can be a good outcome, but the process is going to be challenging. And so, the big question is, where do you start? So I want to give you a quick slide just to kind of get your thoughts started in this area. So in terms of the different areas, the first thing you can think about, now this is kind of the easiest because this is something that we all want to do naturally. It's usually the top of our list, is just lead nurturing. Lead nurturing. Okay, so somebody comes in and says, hey, I just want to hear from you more often. I'm interested, or I've created a shopping cart, but I'm not going through, or I've put in my information for a product or a service or something, or I've attended your events, but I don't know about us yet. Kind of predating time. So that's one segment of people, and thinking, and I want you to just think of, what does their journey look like right now with you? You're thinking about them. They thought about you once. They may not be thinking about you after that point. And we want to start to say, do we have their data? A small footnote, do we have their permission to actually contact them? Obviously, Castle compliance and all those wonderful things. But Are we ready to actually talk to our leads? Secondly, what about our prospects? So what about people that said, I am interested, I want more information, maybe I even want a proposal, I want a presentation, I want to see a contract, I want a quote. Now those are prospects, okay? So we've gone from warm to hot, all right? So what are you doing with your prospects on a regular basis? And how long is your prospect period? Is it hours? Is it days? Is it months? Is it literally years? You know, if you're selling like ERP systems, your prospects, a successful prospect could be like signed and launched within 4 years. All right. But if somebody's looking for, I don't know, they're looking to buy a car and they're looking with the next few weeks. If it's like if it's 4 weeks old, it's done, right? Like they're done. But we want to think about during that time period, what are we setting up to help them in their journey? And then lastly, of these three, which I absolutely love, is this the overall growth marketing? Okay, so we know it's you've also heard it as share of wallet, right? Growing a share of wallet means they're now your customer. Okay, and this one, if I can be honest, I always overlook this one, and it is yet I think the most valuable. All right, and a lot of times marketing people, you're always looking net new. Who can I get interested in this product? I'm trying to sell them. What about the person that says, I believe in your product? You know, I bought Exploding Kittens 1, but I want to know about Exploding Kittens 2. And I want to know about the Mittens Expander Pack. And I want to see Throw Burrito in my living room. Like these people are ready to buy. Their credit cards are out, or they've done business with you before. They've got a quote. You've done something really well. How do you expand your share of wallet with those customers? And what are you doing to nurture that share of wallet? Do you even have a plan? Do you have a communication plan? Do you have a frequency plan? Do you have a reason to upgrade plan for these people, right? We don't want to constantly just do one and done, set and forget, one and done, set and forget. Honestly, your business doesn't grow like that. At Candybox Marketing, to let you know a little bit about us, we're one of the fastest growing agencies in Canada, rated in the last 6 years. We're one of the top places to work. And people always say, how are you growing so quickly? Like, people always want to know, like, okay, how are you growing so quickly? And I say the same thing to every single person: retention. Now, it's not a really fun thing to say as a marketing company, because yes, we get new customers all the time. Yes, people are calling us all the time. And yes, we do SEO and we do SEM and we do social and we do all these different things, and we do emails and we do webinars and we do all those wonderful things. But I don't want to replace the business that I spent so hard getting last year, this year. Okay, I don't want to spend all my time just replacing customers with new customers. So our retention rate as an agency is 5 years and 9 months, where the average agency, it's only 4 months. So we don't need to keep doing this churn and burn thing. We focus on our customers. We focus on connecting with them. We focus on retargeting, remarketing, and upselling, and helping our customers to the next spot. That is how we grow, number one. But you have to have a plan. That doesn't just happen by accident, right? Deals don't close themselves. Customers, if they call you and ask you for a service, that's like desperation. But we have to think about, how do we land and expand your client base in this next year? So here's an offer for you. If you have 5 or more employees, now we can only open it right now just for 5 or more employees, because we only have so much capacity here as a company, and there's a lot of startups that we'd love to help, but we just can't help every single company that is out there. So we're opening this up for a complimentary marketing automation workflow session with one of our team members here. And what we're going to do during this marketing automation workflow is we're going to take a look at your site. We're going to take a look at social. We're going to take a look at your current funnels or potential funnels, and we're going to give you some, what would it be, like diagnostics, opportunities, and example workflows that you could use for your business to help improve your lead qualification process, improve your prospect to close process, and improve your growth marketing process. All right, 3 different areas, and maybe we just focus on one for your company, but we want to extend that to you. We are a Canadian company. We are passionate, and I would almost say desperate, but desperate is the wrong word. We're passionate, we're eager, we're excited to see any business grow. And so we just want to give you a bunch of ideas. No, this does not include us doing all these different things. And yes, we can do it as an agency. Come on, guys, we're in business, right? We pay our people. So these are things that we're just going to give you a number of ideas of saying, this is how you can grow your business. And so just on this next slide here, feel free to visit this link. If you really don't want to like click off the Zoom meeting, you're worried, you're like, I want to keep my eyes on these guys the entire time. That's okay. Just pull out your phone, scan that QR code, fill out a very quick form, and our team will be getting back to you shortly on a presentation on your business and how we can help scale it. Just in closing here, first off, I really want to encourage you guys, if you've got questions, now is the time to ask them. You've got one of the foremost leading marketing automation specialists sitting right here, Malene, and there's a lot of, like, it doesn't matter if your question is kind of like nerdy or tech related or more strategic or on the brand side or industry specific. We want to take time here to answer some of your questions and do the best that we can. And for everybody else that is quickly logging off and getting a bio break before their next meeting, we appreciate you coming out today. All right, so let's take a look at the Q&A here. I've got one question. All right, we've got, I love chat workflow for my coaching business. For the moment, I'm doing one-on-one coaching, but I'm going to be making an online course. Good stuff, Lindsay. I want to make sure my tech stack for my lead funnel is automated, easy, efficient, and have robust data. Don't we all? Isn't that why we're here today? That's great. I'm a career coach for women in male-dominated industries. Malene, where would you start on this?
Yeah, that's great. Where would I start? I would look at your tech stack. I would look at compatibility first, and then I would look at what is the goal that we're trying to achieve. And then I would kind of create a roadmap to that. I mean, online courses are great, especially there's definitely marketing opportunity, like growth marketing opportunities there, right? There's referrals, there's probably affiliates. There's a lot of good stuff there. So yeah, let's look at your tech stack, make sure that they're compatible, just so we can create like a line of sight as to how that funnel is going to work, and then identify the goal and make sure that the tech stack supports that goal, and then create a journey, and then constant optimizations, right? Making sure that the funnel is actually doing what we want it to do. And if not, then create that workflow in the chatbot, making sure that you're asking all the right questions to better position that course in front of that prospect. So when it is the right time, right solution, right person, that course sign up happens.
Awesome. All right, now I'm going to shoot a really difficult question at you, Malene. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer this one.
All right.
This one's from Michelle. If you only have a budget for one thing in marketing automation, what do you think is the most important thing for you to start with?
An email platform. Absolutely. An email service, right? If you think about social and Google Ads and all of these other things that we're using to drive business, if we don't have a place for them to safely land and us to communicate with them, what kind of like business do we have essentially in terms of lead nurturing, right? Because like, remember a couple of years ago when like Facebook's algorithm changed and all of a sudden 2% of people saw our content and not 100? Like one day Facebook might decide to change their entire algorithm, and if like followers are great, but what are they going to do for your business if they're all of a sudden gone or not seeing your content and you have to pay to play? So I would say email, absolutely. At least you can kind of get them into your platform and you can have more personalized conversations with them. Even if they're not ready to buy at that time, 6 months down the line, it might look completely different. And you own that data, right? As long as you're compliant with that data, you can email people as much as you want and until they unsubscribe, essentially. So yes, email by far. And it's not super expensive to get started with email. There's definitely lots of solutions on the market that will give you what you need.
Great answer. Yeah, it's true. I was actually going to say it depends. Then I heard your answer and I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's so many things that disappear over time. So it's good to really own your data. Do you have any, Jason asked, do you have any examples of suitable email platforms?
Ooh. I mean, I love HubSpot.
We love HubSpot.
Loves HubSpot simply because
HubSpot.
It's not just email, right? Like the reporting alone is what makes HubSpot great, but it really tells you where are your leads coming from? So what forms are generating the most leads? But then out of all of those leads, which ones are actually ending in your sales pipeline, right? Because like you may have a form that generates like 70% of your leads, but the ones that are actually ending in your sales pipeline might be coming from a not so active form. That's good insight to know before you shut off that form, right? Because you don't think it's working. And then if you look at it from a reporting standpoint, you can also pull in other sources. So you can pull in like your Google Analytics, your socials, paid campaigns. So all of a sudden you're starting to get a much better insight into everything that you're doing. So it's not just email alone and the metrics there. It's really about how all of those metrics work together with everything else you're doing in a more holistic way. So HubSpot, love HubSpot, right? Every other platform kind of gives you very segmented data just for email, but it doesn't tell the whole story. It might be telling you, it only tells you what email is doing, but it doesn't tell you like what's leading to the sale. It doesn't tell you like what's happening with those people. And HubSpot kind of gives you that full customer journey. Where did they come from? How long did it take them to go through the funnel? How are they behaving in that funnel? What landed them in your sales pipeline? How long did it take them to close? And then what does that look like on a growth marketing perspective? It kind of gives you that full line of sight, which gives us more analytical data to work with and create strategies that actually work.
Awesome. Great answer. At Candybox Marketing, I just have to actually disclose this just to make sure, we are a HubSpot partner, but we are platform agnostic. We are a HubSpot partner because HubSpot works really well and we love it. And so we're integrated with our training programs. We can offer clients like you discounts on HubSpot, and we use it ourselves to do a lot of our marketing automation and CRM work. That said, we've worked with probably a list of like the top 5. There's Create Send, MailChimp, there's Salesforce with Pardot, there's Active Campaign, there's Constant Contact. There's probably more. And so we've worked with a number of them. But yeah, whenever you start moving from I want to send an email to I need to evaluate this customer and how they're doing in the last 5 years, that's when you start to need more robust features and data sets and things. So great question. Another question came in here from Nick. What chatbot do you use for your site, or like which ones do you recommend? So I'm going to answer that one. So for our site, we use a chatbot called Service Bell. It's a really great video platform, and so if you want information on that, feel free to DM us or chat to us or send me an email. I give you more details on that, because we get as an agency, we always get better pricing than if you to sign up with them directly. And there's a lot of really great chatbots that are out there. There's stuff. There's even ones that like HubSpot does. There's Intercom is another one. And also whenever we look at chatbots, we really ask the question of like, where is this data going? And does that help us long term? Because you don't want to have like the really coolest, slickest, latest chatbot that doesn't connect to anything. So as an example, if you go on candyboxmarketing.com and you are a customer of ours, our chatbot will say, hey, this person from this trucking company that is a Candybox customer is now on the website, and this is what they're looking at, right? And so like we kind of know like who's there, as opposed to it just being random. So there's a lot of platforms. Once again, feel free to kind of contact us if you're looking to integrate a chatbot. We do this as a service where we're trying to consult, install, and configure chatbots that actually make sense for you. I think we have answered all the questions except for the one that Natasha just answered. All right, last one before the bell here. How complex is it to set up a chatbot? Wow. Okay, so there's different types of chatbots. So really great question.
Yeah.
There are chatbots that are almost like a decision tree, where you're kind of picking and choosing where people can go in the conversation and saying, if you need to talk to sales, click here, or this, click here, and you kind of go through that. Now that takes I would say like more marketing automation thinking and strategy, and then the technical side it can be figured out a bit faster once you've kind of figured out that strategy. Then there's chatbots that are more AI powered and are based off of a data set, and so you can kind of let it loose, and then you're doing testing on it. Now, I mean, there's companies that literally I think there was even like a major airline recently that didn't do very well with one of their chatbots that they integrated, because they started giving out wrong information about some of their policies. And so what I would do, Natasha, in this case, is I would take a look at what are the objectives of what you want the chatbot to do. That's number one. Number two, figure out what chatbot hits that purpose. And then number three is actually building out those workflows or funnels and captures. And then we take time. So like I would say that, because that doesn't fully answer the question, on the low end, it may take you about like 1 week to launch a chatbot. And it could be as complex as like 4 or 5 weeks of building in lots of content and workflows and tie-ins to different parts of marketing automation, just based on what you're looking for. Would you agree with that, Malene? Does that
Yes.
make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
CRM integration.
CRM integration, always integrated. Okay. Standalone, really like hot tools that are not integrated, they're really cool to look at. But then the long term, you're going to be kicking yourself because you keep gathering all these data points that aren't connecting and it's not telling you the whole story about your customer. Speaking about the whole story, that's our whole story. All right. So I really want to appreciate everybody that came out today, or those that are watching on YouTube. If you want our consultation on your workflows, feel free to click that link and fill it out. We'd love to chat with you and have a fun rest of your week thinking and dreaming about all the marketing automation workflows that you can build to grow your business. Thanks so much.